Good morning. It is Monday morning, getting ready for my week. I am headed to Marcone to grab some parts and then headed to my 9 to 5. I've already spoken to all my customers this morning, got everything set up starting this evening, rolling throughout the next 3 days. Now, as I've stated before, you can have a 9 to 5 and legitimize your hustle. You can have an appliance repair business. You can have any business on the side. But at the end of the day, you have to structure it like a professional, manage it like a professional, and grow the business. It becomes an asset, and that's the name of the game. You want a business. You don't want a second job. So how does that happen? You structure everything accordingly. You structure your staffing. People are like, well, how do I get staffing? I'm not making enough money. Well, as you're working, like I'm working in appliance repair, I meet technicians all the time who are not interested in the paperwork. They just want to get paid. They don't want to do the complications of having a business, which is, in my personal opinion, unfortunate because you have a in-demand skill set and you should be paid accordingly. But, everybody has their journey. You got to find those opportunities, take advantage of them. But getting back to the business, like for me, step by step, the first thing I've done in regards to managing the appliance business, I have warranty and I have cash calls. My cash calls are roughly about 80%. Warranty might be 10, 15, maybe 20, just depending. And I pick and choose what warranties I want to do. That way I get exposed to products I may not be being exposed to on the cash side. So that gives me experience on both ends and I can use in both areas. So for instance, this morning I have a cinch customer. The cinch customer, I have a scheduled appointment. She's down in Miami. And then I have a cash paying customer. I have 3 installs this week, 5 repairs. So that by itself is about 8, 9, 10, and I'm just starting. So my goal is to do, basically on my own, is to do roughly about 30 jobs in 3 days. So that means you need to, number one, be able to diagnose the product before you get there. And that comes from experience. Prime example, I have a customer that has a stackable dryer that won't stop running. And now it won't start. So it's very interesting. And some of these customers have specific restraints. Like this is an older gentleman that lives in a certain community. And because he lives in a certain community, he's only allowed to have contractors in from 10 to 4 or something like that. You also have to call and give them your general liability information. You have to be flexible. When you're running a business, you should have your general liability, workers' comp, whether you have employees or not. You need to be prepared to play in the big leagues. You also should have uniforms. You should have a lettered truck, whether it's a magnet label, whatever it is. Like me, I'm in a 2020 Dodge Dodge 1500. And it's very clean, it's modern, it's professional, so there are no questions when I roll up, because not only do I talk the part, walk the part, I look the part. And a lot of people out here trying to do these shortcuts. People do not want you working on their appliances if you got the looking janky going up in there. First of all, you're not articulate, you don't speak in an articulate manner, regardless of the language. You don't look the part, you can't hold your own in the conversation, and you're not civil. The biggest compliment I get on most of my in-home visits is how polite and how patient I am. My customers are always giving me things unwarranted, but hey, like I was on a run this weekend. Young lady gave me a cinnamon candle, some homemade soy candle her sister made. But like I said, a lot of these people are allowing you into their home, and that is a privilege. And I think sometimes people forget it. We have a job to do. We got to get to the next customer, and you really want to rush and move on. But at the end of the day, you got to have some humanity, because that is your word of mouth business. The best business is always word of mouth. The reason is because people are sharing their experiences, and they're talking to people who trust them, so those people in turn will trust you. The other thing is when you maintain your professionalism, you can turn down jobs you don't want to do or are not comfortable in. You should never be in a point of desperation. And the only way you become desperate is when you put yourself in a predicament where you've got to have a job and make ends meet, which I think is insane. I believe that you should manage everything accordingly. Now let me explain something to you. This is not something I learned overnight, because I've made plenty of mistakes, so that as I step, forward, I move a certain way. And people think I have it all together, and Miss Ward does not have it all together. But what I do is I constantly work and build my atomic habits to tweak my weak points. I know I have areas of opportunity on so many levels. And the beautiful part of still having my corporate job is that I have the stability of having not just, my insurance and fallback and things of that nature, but I also have an environment I can go in where I can still see the mindset of workers and employees and how to handle them. At the same time, I have to maintain my mindset of being a boss. That's right, boss. And I don't mean B-O-S-S. I mean B-A-W-S-E, boss. Anyway, so these are my experiences, and this is all I can share. So, getting back to what I was saying, last night I went to bed very late because I was ordering all my parts, setting up all my invoices so that I could streamline the experience for the customer, but also for myself. The thing I never want to be in is when I'm dealing with a customer and I gotta get the estimate together, I gotta get the diagnostic charge, I gotta give them a formal invoice. I made sure my Square reader was charged up, everything's connected, everything's working fine, all my accounts in order. I mean, all that stuff makes you feel, number one, you're on top of your game, but you actually are doing it better than the big boys. I mean, I have a surface that I can use for people to sign, for their invoice, which is always a good look. I'm not a big fan of people signing on the phone. To me, that's not big enough. When you're dealing with older people, some of them are already frustrated by the technology. Don't make it worse. So, you always want to keep that in mind, that a lot of things we take for granted are new to people. And then on top of that, you need to stay on top of the technology as a business owner, because it's going to make your life easier, but also it's going to be cutting edge. So I use House Call Pro. I can do invoices in that. I prefer to do my stuff in Square simply because I connect Square directly to QuickBooks. Everything lines up because I'm really big about keeping those things in order. Like, I might not even know how to connect A to B, but I know I'm going to have all the details, and I'm going to be able to have electronic access to what I need. And in most cases, you don't need to know everything, but you got to have the apps and things in place so that when you have the time to sit down and figure the shit out, you can do it. But if you're looking for paperwork here and there, that's the problem. The thing I like about QuickBooks is that you can scan your receipts, everything scans in. Then on top of that, when you go to do your accounts, you can either put it as a tax write-off, it'll give you tips. I mean, come on. You got to find some administrative time, because the problem is people are so busy trying to ride under the radar. When something happens like what's going on with SBA, you can't get any money because your ass is not legit. Like, this makes no sense to me. But at the end of the day, we are who we are, So, like I said, I called my customers this morning, the ones I needed to tweak. I made sure everybody got their invoices, set up all the appointments with my warranty customers. So now I have nothing to worry about. All I got to do is lock and load. That's all I have to do, and that's the name of the game. You want to be able to get it done. You want to be able to look professional when it happens, and you don't want to miss a beat. You don't want to stutter, because the one that stutters loses the sale. Like, I talked to a customer. I had a pro referral customer this morning. I called him, and I knew I couldn't get to him till late. But what I did was I said, you know what, sir? His complaint is that as an LG refrigerator, that refrigerator wasn't cooling yesterday, and now this morning it's cooling fine. It seems to be. They wanted to have it checked out anyway. So when I called the gentleman, I said, you know what, sir, were you aware that there are some self-diagnostic options on your LG? No, I wasn't. Thanks for the heads up. I said, yeah, sir, so go ahead and try that first. If you have any issues and you need us to come out, just give me a call back. Now, what do I look like? I look like the hero. I look like, number one, I care about the customer, which I do. Number two, I gave him some inside information, which is really public knowledge. If he had Googled it, he would have found it. And number three, I got someone who trusts me automatically. I've developed a rapport. Those are the things you got to think about in business. You don't have to touch every customer or go collect from them, but you have to, if you have an opportunity to have a touch point, you got to maximize that touch point. Pro Referral gave me the opportunity to actually have this customer's information. So I called that customer, gave him what he needed, and he's had any questions. I'm going to follow up, make sure he went through the diagnostic. By the time I call him, I'll make sure I'm clear about how that diagnostic goes, and I'll be able to guide him through it. And then at the end of the day, I still got the business because he trusts me, and that's the name of the game. So I am currently at my corporate job, and it's time for me to change into Wonder Woman. And then I'm going to have to go by Marcone and grab my parts later because I need to be at work in 7 minutes. So I want to make sure I maintain my professionalism on my job. The reason that I can go out and do what I need to do is that this job has afforded me those opportunities because of the salary that I have, that I've made. So with that said, everybody have a great day. And once again, signing off, Miss Ward.